Hello everyone and welcome to the FPL Enthusiast YouTube channel. Over the course of the season 2021-2022, we are going to have a ton of fun on this channel. A little about myself, I've been playing FPL for the past 6 years, but I really got into it in the 2018-2019 season. In the past 3 seasons, I've finished in the top 100k twice and a little outside the 100k mark once in the 2019-2020 season. The goal for this year is going to be exactly the same as what it was last year. Finish as close as possible to the top. On this channel, you will have access to a multitude of videos from weekly team selections, the best captaincy options, chip strategies, double and blank game week possibilities, as well as tips and tricks to win the mini leagues. So let's dive into this video. In this one, we'll be looking at my almost confirmed draft for game week 1. Now, I will be making a few changes here and there over the course of the next 8 days till we hit game week 1 deadline. But I do not see an overhaul of changes coming through. I have certain set of players in my team that I definitely want for the first 6 game weeks. Now, going into the goalkeeper selection, I've gone for the most template selection of this year and the first 6 game weeks. That is the keeper in Sanchez from Brighton. Brighton has pretty decent fixtures in the first 6. I see them potentially keeping 2 to 3 clean sheets. They have 2 difficult fixtures against Everton and Leicester. Last year, they managed to keep a clean sheet against Everton, so there is a possibility of that happening again. But in the first 6 fixtures, if I get 3 clean sheets out of 6, I think that's a pretty big win for a 4.5 million keeper. In defense, I've tried to go for as many attacking defenders as possible. Getting a clean sheet from a defender is one thing, but I think the main objective is to get that 9 or 12 point haul from your defender. And that can only happen with an assist or a goal. And that's why you need to go for attacking defenders. Taking that into consideration, I have gone for the dynamic duo of Trent and Robertson in this draft of mine. In the first 6 fixtures, they play Norwich, Burnley, Chelsea, Leeds, Crystal Palace and Brentford. Might not get clean sheets against Leeds and Chelsea, but I think that the attacking returns in the rest 4 will make up for those. They managed to get 3 goals, 16 assists and 22 clean sheets with 45 bonus points between themselves last year. And that's one of the reasons why I think that having 2 Liverpool defenders makes a lot of sense in the team. The third defender that I've chosen for my team is Kufa. And he had 9 assists, 9 clean sheets and 12 bonus points last season. Even in the Euros, he had 2 assists in the 5 games that he played. So he is a pretty good attacking option in defense. And he looks like he is still in form. That's the reason why I want him in my team. In the first 6 fixtures, he plays Newcastle, Leicester, Crystal Palace, Manchester United, Leeds and Southampton. I feel that there is a possibility of getting maybe a couple of clean sheets and a couple of assists in those 6 fixtures. A direct replacement for him is Matt Targett. Now, Matt Targett had 4 assists and 16 clean sheets last season. The 16 clean sheets are a little skewed because Aston Villa overperformed last. I'm not sure if they'll be able to perform at the same level this season. The first 3 fixtures that they play are against Watford, Brentford and Newcastle. 2 out of the 3 teams that they are playing are promoted teams, and it doesn't get any better than that. I think that there is a high possibility that Matt Targett could get a couple of clean sheets in those fixtures. The only reason I don't feel like bringing him in right now is because I know that the fixtures for Aston Villa turn after game week 3. And they are pretty difficult moving forward. And he will be a definite transfer that I'll have to make because he's a 5 million defender that I cannot afford to keep on the bench. Because of that reason, I'm not sure whether I would like to have him in my team in the moment. My next pick is Joe Weltman. He is a 4.5 million defender who's going to start games. And that's the only reason why I have him in my team. If I ever want to bench him, I can definitely bench him, play a 3-5-2 very easily. The only reason I'm a little skeptical about this pick is because I do not like the double up of Brighton defense in my team. There is a high possibility that I might get 4 points out of my goalkeeper and defender in a particular game week, which I am not really excited about. That's why I'm still thinking about this pick and maybe going for an Arsenal defender like Ben White for the same price might be a good solution, because you can play him in game week 1, then you play him again in game week 4, 5 and 6. So that is what I'm still thinking about, but for now I have Joe Weltman in the team. So my first pick in midfield is my captaincy pick for 5 out of the first 6 game weeks in none other than Mr. Mo Salah. I'm pretty sure I'm going to captain him against Norwich, Burnley, Crystal Palace, Leeds and Brentford. Game week 3 he plays Chelsea. That's the only time when I'll probably switch over the captaincy to somebody else. My next player in midfield is somebody that I do not see a draft without right now, and that is Fernandes. I know people will say that he's 12 million, he's not worth 12 million, but I think that the price is justified for the kind of season he has had. His fixtures are Newcastle, Wolves, Southampton, West Ham, Aston Villa and Leeds in the first 6. They might not look as good as what Liverpool's fixtures look like, but last season against these 6 teams, in the 12 fixtures that they played, they scored 37 goals. That's a little over 3 goals per game. And if they can manage a similar feat this season with Sancho in the team, increasing the attacking potential, I think they can do the similar thing, because of which Fernandes would probably be able to keep up with Salah in the first 6 fixtures. Another thing about him is that he is on 40% of the teams currently, which is a pretty high ownership and a pretty scary ownership to play against. The third midfielder in my team that I have chosen is Mahrez. And mainly because he's only in 6% of the teams. So he's basically flying under the radar right now. He's a pretty differential pick. And in the preseason games, he has already scored thrice and assisted twice. So I feel somehow that he is definitely going to start for Pep in the first few fixtures. So having him in the team is a pretty differential pick, and I think he can do a lot of damage from the right side against teams like Tottenham, Norwich, Arsenal, Leicester, Southampton and Chelsea in the first 6 fixtures. My last pick in midfield is Jack Harrison. Now, yes, a lot of people are going to have this debate that why are you choosing Jack Harrison, why are you not choosing Rafinha? But the thing is that there is a 0.5 million difference between them. Also, Jack Harrison had 8 goals and 10 assists last season compared to 6 goals and 10 assists from Rafinha last season. Now, I can understand that Rafinha played 500 less minutes compared to Jack Harrison, but that's only 5.5 games. If we consider maybe 2 assists and 2 goals from Rafinha in that time, in those 5.5 games, I think that brings his point tally up by maybe 10 or 12 points. That's not too much though. And for $500,000, I will take that bet on Jack Harrison right now. I might be completely wrong. Yes, there is a possibility I might be completely wrong. But I would like to take that bet on Jack Harrison right now so that it can save me a little bit of money. In my forward lineup, my first player that I have selected is Antonio from West Ham. For me, there's only one rule with Antonio. If he's fit, he is in. He plays Newcastle, Leicester, Crystal Palace, Southampton, United and Leeds in the first 6. I would say that there are 2 difficult fixtures against Leicester and United, but he definitely has potential to get attacking returns in the other 4. He scored 10 goals and 5 assists in last season, and he was injured for quite a bit of time. The only thing I'm worried about with Antonio is his fitness levels. He gets injured, he's going to be out for a while. If he remains fit, I'm pretty sure he can break his score from last season of 10 goals and 5 assists. Another thing that I've noticed from the preseason games that I've watched for West Ham is that Benrahma and Bowen are in pretty good form, and they have looked outstanding in the preseason games. They have scored 3 goals and 3 assists between themselves already in the 6 preseason games. And I think the way they are playing, if they continue doing that, that could increase the attacking returns we might get from Antonio. Now, my second attacker is the one that I'm probably going to have in my team for just the first 3 game weeks. And that's Watkins. I know that Danny Ings has transferred in and he's going to play a more central role, and Watkins is going to move out onto the wings. But I still feel that there is potential that he can give us pretty good returns in the first 3 fixtures when he's playing Watford, Newcastle and Brentford. Same thing again, there are 2 promoted teams out of the first 3, and last year he had 14 goals and 9 assists, and this year with Bundia and Danny Ings joining the team, I think that he'll be able to keep pace with those numbers. But I definitely think that I'm going to have him only for the first 3 fixtures, and then I'm probably going to transfer him out for maybe an Everton attacker in Calvert-Lewin or Richarlison. I want to see how Everton start the season under Benitez, and then maybe I'll make that. Now, when we look at my bench, my first bench player is Foster. He's my second keeper. He is probably a non-playing keeper till Backman is in the team. My first playing sub is going to be Bissouma, who I have on the bench. He probably only comes in as an automatic substitution if there is any kind of an injury to any of my players during pre-match training. But I do not see a draft in which I'll probably be starting with him. My third substitute is Andrew, 4 million Norwich defender. He had 8 appearances in the championship last season. I would like to see how Norwich start at the start of the season to see if he by chance is a starting defender. If he is a starting defender, he's going to be in my team for the next 38 game weeks. My last is Keenan Davis, again a non-starting 4.5 million attacker. He's going to be there as bench fodder. So looking at my team, I'm not completely satisfied, and there are a couple of changes that I'm strongly looking into. One of those changes is to get Robertson out and Van Dijk in, which still allows me to have 2 Liverpool defenders. Another change with that is to upgrade Kufau to Luke Shaw. Now, Luke Shaw had an incredible season last year. He had 1 goal, 5 assists, 10 clean sheets with 26 bonus points, and he had 3 assists in the Euros with a goal. So that tells me that having him in the team gives me a little more attacking potential. On top of it, we'll have Sancho on the left as well. So that would allow me to get a few more points out of Luke Shaw than compared to Kufau. With those changes in mind, there are a few other changes in midfield that I'm looking at. Now, those changes that I'm looking at are removing Mahrez out, putting Gundogan in, and upgrading Bissouma to Ismail Sarr. Downgrading Mahrez, upgrading Bissouma allows me to play a formation of 3-5-2, and which would help me get a few more points than I would in a 4-4-2 situation in case I lose a clean sheet. So that's one of the positives out of this formation. Another positive, if Gundogan starts playing a false 9 position, he can potentially give us a few more points compared to what Mahrez can when we compare the prices for both of those players. Another thing is that Ismail Sarr is probably going to be the main man for Watford, so he could potentially give us a few more points compared to Bissouma, who would probably be on our bench for the rest of the season. So those are the changes that I'm looking at, and this is how the team would look like if I make those changes. Another thing that I did was I ran both my teams through the Rate My Team tool on the Fantasy Football Scouts members area. Now, this tool will predict your score or predict the score of your team based on the expected points for a player in a given game week. It also provides you the total your team would score over a number of game weeks that you select. Now, I selected 6 game weeks to check out my team's total score. or rather the total predicted score. My current team is predicted to score 349.27 points in the first 6 game weeks. If I do make the changes of Van Dijk, Luke Shaw, Gundogan, and Ismail Sarr, at that point of time, my predicted score goes up to 350.91. Now, the difference is negligible between the two scores, and because of which I'm still contemplating whether I should be making those changes or not. So the rate my team tool is pretty handy, and I would like to provide you guys a rating for your team as well. So please go ahead and send me your teams either via Twitter or Instagram or even in the comment section of this video. I won't be judging them on a scale of 1 to 10 or anything like that. I will provide you the predicted score for the first 6 game weeks and then a couple of suggestions which would increase the predicted score based off of the tool. So that's it for this one. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed the content, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter. And I'll see you soon again.